Hello, and welcome to the UltraViolent Rest Hold podcast. Presented by Dane and Dougie. Sit back, relax and enjoy the utter shite that they will talk about for the next hour or so. It will be the absolute drizzling shits.
Fuck you piece of shit!
Marty Jones!
Jesus!
You know, you got a bicycle!
Second away, round one.
And strength, of course.
Well, here it comes again. The son of the Sabaton mustache Superman got the shades on his eyes. No, you'll never hear him bitch, and you'll never hear him whine. He's the mustache.
Hello, and this is our second attempt of doing this week's podcast.
Take two.
Because I'm an idiot.
Well, for our one listener, they won't even know what we're talking about. We've got to explain this, and we're going to introduce ourselves first, and then explain why I'm extremely angry.
Reintroduce ourselves.
Reintroduce ourselves.
Right, so this is the UltraViolent Rest Hold, the worst podcast on the internet, as you will be aware in a couple of minutes. I am Danny Douglas, along with
Dougie Douglas. And
this week we have a special guest.
Yeah, I'm christening myself Badum Boom, because of I have a feeling if it wasn't for me, Dan wouldn't have messed up, so I will claim I am now Badum and Boom. That is my official podcasting name.
What other names are you going to join?
Many. Well, obviously my real name, Joey. I wrestle as JD Boom. I'm the Master of Mustache-to-Piece, the Sultan of the Sideburn, the Mustache Messiah, and I maybe also moonlight as a Ramones Elvis impersonator by the name of Japelvis, the King of Dong Style. So many pseudonyms.
Worryingly, I'm familiar with all of your work, all of it, every single character,
every nook and cranny.
Yes.
Well.
Can I just say I'm really angry, really angry.
For a change.
Yeah. I am by admission, Dougie Douglas, an angry person. And I was at peace with the world 40 minutes ago because we'd started this podcast.
It was all going so well.
And we'd nearly finished it. Then Dan announced that it hadn't recorded properly. And so we're going to do it all again. And I am somewhat deflated.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, I didn't realise that if it was playing on my computer, it'd pick it up and bounce it back. So there'd be two of us speaking at the same time, but one of us be on a 10-second delay, so it'd just get jumbled up as a load of crap, basically. So
the frustrating thing for me is, because I'm such an absolutely massive dinosaur, I couldn't do 1% of this to be recorded anyway, so I can't even complain about it as such, because I can't do any better myself. But let's get on with the show again.
Yep, again.
Yeah.
So what's your first point again, Dan?
The first point was Goldberg winning the belt.
In a match that didn't last as long as the first messed up episode 2 of this podcast. I didn't like it. Didn't like the direction they went with the entire pay-per-view. To be perfectly honest, I did stay up and watch it live, and it was the worst pay-per-view I've ever seen in my time watching wrestling.
The worst one.
And that's saying something, because I have watched some pretty bad wrestling from time to time. But yeah, I didn't enjoy it. I think it's just poor. I mean, and it's going to sound like me going, "Oh, the person I liked didn't win, so I'm angry." But it wasn't that. It was just, I think the way that they went about the victories was, I mean, the Bayley and Charlotte match, where they were playing up on Charlotte having, an undefeated record in singles matches on pay-per-view for like a year, and it just ended. She just lost. They didn't make note of it. It was just a match. She lost it, and that could have been a huge thing, and it was just thrown away on a pay-per-view the last pay-per-view before WrestleMania. And then obviously you've got Goldberg winning the belt in 20 seconds, and it was just meh.
Where are they going with Goldberg then?
Well, Goldberg obviously main event, which I hope isn't the last match of WrestleMania. Goldberg and Brock Lesnar for the Universal title, which I think is going to be a short match again. I think it's going to be a Brock Lesnar victory in 30-40 seconds. I mean, I'd like them to surprise us and do a 10-minute masterpiece, but
Yeah.
I can't really see that happening because they're both part-timers. Goldberg's getting on, and Brock Lesnar's he's good, but he's very limited in what he can do. He can't put on like Eddie Guerrero type matches when just they're entertaining. Some would say. I like, again, as I say, I like them, but I think it better not be the last match. I don't want it to be the last match just because it shouldn't be.
Will it be Goldberg's last match?
Hopefully.
Fingers. I mean, again, I don't want it to sound like I'm just going, oh, Goldberg's awful because he's in the WWE and I'm not, obviously. But I hope so because it's. I mean, I saw a statistic and it was I think it's been the past six WrestleManias. A part-timer has been in the main event of every single one for the past 6 years. So it was obviously you've had Goldberg, Triple H, Brock Lesnar, The Rock, and The Rock. I think it was.
It's the 3 Rocks.
There was 3 Rock matches.
Oh right.
There was the 2 John Cena ones. It might not have been The Rock, but yeah, it's something like 5 or 6 years worth of WrestleManias have had a part-timer as the very last match, and there's going to be 2 in the main event of this one.
Poor form. And what other matches is there on WrestleMania?
Well,
I'm looking forward to watching it as a spectacle.
I mean, I'm not as excited as I usually am, surprisingly, and it's disappointing really because WrestleMania should be like. Everyone should be like excited for it and oh my god, it's WrestleMania, but there's maybe 2 or 3 matches that I think are going to be really good. There's obviously Jericho and Owens because Jericho's phenomenal and Kevin Owens I think Kevin Owens is fantastic. That's going to be maybe not 5-star, but I think it'll certainly be the best match on there. There's, if it goes ahead, Seth Rollins Triple H could be good, but it's got the potential to be quite a slow one because if Rollins is still working with his injury and Triple H is a part-timer, and surprisingly, it's probably going to shock some people, AJ Styles and Shane McMahon I think will be a standout match.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We're banned from using insider terms here, Joey. By the way, just a code of conduct. And you used the term 5 stars.
Did I? Well, is that an insider term? I'd argue. I don't think that's insider. I don't really know. You can rate matches, don't you?
Yeah, you rate.
Joey, I was
people on eBay.
Joey, I was working you.
So you've used the first insider term. I think we need some kind of insider term buzzer that goes off every time an insider term is used. And could you also argue insider term is an insider term?
Ding ding ding.
It's one of those words.
Next thing, Dennis Stamp passed away early this week, late last week, at the age of 70. He's possibly mainly known for his appearance in the documentary Beyond the Mat. Yes,
and I watched Dennis Stamp when he was in his prime on satellite TV, Cablevision. In East Hull, we had Cablevision, we had the AWA, the NWA, we had the WWF, we had Global Wrestling, we had Stampede Wrestling. It was ace, but Dennis Stamp wasn't. Dennis Stamp was just in the ring. Here's Dennis Stamp, and he would lift one arm up and then get destroyed, but usually by somebody like Leon White, who then became Vader. I also
on the subject of Vader, it's going off the
no, you go for Vader.
On the subject of Vader, did you see a few months back, I think it was sort of middle to late last year, the rather un-PG tweets he accidentally tweeted, that his girlfriend apparently tweeted, when there was just a picture of his of his mastodon, shall we say, was
his genitals.
His genitals. He was laid on a bed in a hotel room, and his penis was on show.
What?
And he then swiftly deleted the tweets after some some offended mother said, "My child is a fan of yours, and he saw your penis." And you were a role model, but yes, and so that happened like middle of last year.
Did you see his penis?
I did, yes.
What did his penis look like?
It was very small. It was like that was the social media outcry was Vader has a tiny penis, which should be the episode title for this second episode. That was the overwhelming thing, was Vader has a tiny penis.
In other Vader news, did he say he was dying?
Yeah, he's got like 2 years to live, I think he said.
He also said recently that I believe he over-exaggerated a little bit. So...
you could say, it's Vader's time.
Oh dear.
Which I instantly feel guilty for making that, but... no, yeah, I'd not seen that. As far as I was concerned, he said that he'd only had 2 years to live, so...
Right.
In other Vader news, there's lots of Vader news actually.
It's a Vader podcast.
I read that, like, somebody said that he absolutely stank. I think it was of rotten flesh.
It's probably him like decomposing himself.
Yeah, I don't know where it was.
It was when he turned up at PCW, and the fans were mentioning it while I was having the photos taken with him, and he was that blown out after doing a comedy match that he had to sit down when the photographs were getting taken.
I've not heard that.
Also, he cancelled a date the following day, something like that, where he demanded prostitutes. And then refused to leave his hotel because he had diarrhea.
Allegedly
had diarrhea.
Yeah, so it's all a bit. There's many. Here's one for anybody out there who wants to watch a bit of Vader. Get yourself on YouTube and watch Vader versus Otto Vance. Jesus Christ, them two knocking the heebie-jeebies out of each other. Check that one out on YouTube. They've had a couple of matches, and both of them are absolutely brutal. And not that good, but there you go.
I'm actually trying this. My search history is going to look very strange, but I'm actually looking for Vader's penis as we speak on the internet, just so I can show you to the. Well, if I show you one of the photoshopped pictures, that's one of the photoshopped pictures. So you can sort of gather. You can gather. I believe they've put his Mastodon helmet over it, so you can see the. I mean, obviously the people listening can't, but I'm sure if you Google Vader penis, it would come up.
He looks a little bit like a turkey. Not just any turkey. He don't just look like any turkey. He looks like the last turkey in the supermarket that everybody's picked up, squeezed, and thrown back. It's not a great image, that I've got to say.
No. So we was swiftly moving back to Dennis Stump.
Oh yes.
I found me an edited version. Whoa! I found me an edited version of Vader's penis.
And it does look like a turkey.
It looks like him. It looks like Vader.
Oh my god!
And the Ugg boots he's wearing are strange as well. It's a very strange picture that you have to see. So just Google Vader WWE penis, and it's the first one that comes up on Reddit.
What's on the TV in the background?
I don't know. Some quiz show, I think.
Tipping Point?
I don't know. Some American
Tipping Point.
I don't know, but it's just a strange image because he's got his socks on, and it's just a very strange image. So yeah.
Why has he took his trousers off?
I don't
his socks and shoes back on?
I don't know. I don't know, but it's very strange.
He'll have had sweatpants on there, go over the trainers, right.
But yeah, so I just thought I'd share that with the two Douglases.
Yeah, marvellous. Thanks for that, Joy.
Okay, so yes, back to Dennis Stamp.
Oh well, what a fitting tribute to Dennis Stamp.
Sorry, Dennis.
Yeah,
if you're listening.
Yeah. This has just gone horribly wrong. This has gone horribly wrong. Joey's just had a sugar rush or something.
I don't know. Just
Anyway, I was just going to say I bought Dennis Stamp's book, but that was awful as well. Can we say something nice about Dennis Stamp, please?
He's a cult icon. I would say.
What did you call him?
A cult. A cult icon. CULT.
Yeah.
Because obviously you get the book Dennis Stamp T-shirts, and that and Beyond the Mat is how sort of I became aware of him.
Yeah.
Is from that. So you could say that he may not have been the best wrestler from you who've seen him, but he does have that following because of the whole Beyond the Mat stuff.
So we'll leave it at that and apologise for the Vader penis stuff, etc.
I take full blame for that again.
Sorry, Dennis.
Didn't Dennis Stamp really badly botch up that match with Bret Hart and Terry Funk?
Yes,
that one he was booked on and reffed, and he messed the finisher.
Yeah, it was just a massive confusion, wasn't it? Yeah. I don't even know what happened there. Apart from it was bad. Bad. Yeah. It's now time for Dougie's Historical Heat. Dougie's Historical Heat. Oh God, Dan, I've got to pick myself up for this one. Sorry. Come on, I can do it. I can do it again. Now the idea of the Historical Heat is just for people who've been watching wrestling for just a short time. Wrestling just changes so much so quickly. And when I first started watching wrestling 40 years ago, I mean, the only thing that stayed the same is the name wrestling. Everything's changed. And when I was watching wrestling when I was young, which obviously was a long time ago because I'm old, it was taken seriously, and the crowd just used to go ballistic. And this little story, it involves like a camp show, and like it's not like camp shows now where you go to Butlins or Pontins and it's very family friendly, lots of clapping, cheer the good guys, boo the baddies. It wasn't like that. When we used to go to Low Skellington, which is like a caravan park on the east coast near Hornsey, it was like the Wild West. Their shows were dangerous. They had all the wrestlers that were like outlawed from Joint Promotions and Brian Dixon's, and the people who couldn't control. And the format was always the same. They would have 2 single matches, then an interval, and they would have a tag match, main event, which involved the 4 wrestlers in the first half. And there was this particular day involved a wrestler called Crazy Dave George, and what they used to do was get a lady, usually a young lady or a woman, a mother, to towel the wrestlers down and give them a drink. Allegedly, but sometimes they would struggle for volunteers, and on this particular day they struggled for volunteers, so they enrolled what looked like a girl of about 11 or 12 years old with long hair. And Dave George decided he wanted to get some heat on the crowd, so he grabbed the girl by her long hair, wrapped it round his fist, and was twisting it in a motion that really looked like he was pulling the hair out of her head, because he was. and she started screaming out in pain because she was in pain. At this point, her father, who was in the crowd, like, it was a family holiday, or it was only families watching it, remonstrated and went to the ring and was stopped by security, who got him and held him above their heads and threw him out. And every time he tried to break freedom and rescue his daughter, Dave George would twist her hair another time, even though there was no more twists left, and pulled her head into the mat, and she was crying her eyes out. And that was just like one of the mental things that you would see stuff like this. Not child abuse like this.
Jimmy Savile. Allegedly.
We won't mention Jimmy Savile. I'll tell you what I've noticed about Jimmy Savile.
Oh God, where's this going?
I'll tell you what pisses me off is when Jimmy Savile was alive and none of the allegations came out. It was always Jimmy Savile, the DJ, Jimmy Savile, the marathon runner, Jimmy Savile, Jim will fix it. But what I noticed was the second that these allegations came out after he died, it was Jimmy Savile, the wrestler. Jimmy Savile, the wrestler.
No, yes, I noticed that. Yeah.
Yes.
They mention his wrestling career a lot.
And they never ever mentioned it, hardly ever, when he was alive.
It was never a thing, but it's the former wrestler.
Yeah.
Jimmy Savile, and it's like, whoa there.
Yeah, it was such a small part of his career. He wrestled 100, I think he said 105 matches. It was such a small part of his career, and it was just a way of just crapping all on the wrestling.
I wondered where he was going to go with that. I thought he was going to go, it's a disgrace how now they call him Jimmy Savile paedophile, not Jimmy Savile the DJ. But no, I know exactly. I noticed that, like the very sort of when the allegations first came out. Yeah, it was like wrestler Jimmy Savile. I was like, whoa there.
It's probably orchestrated by people from Children in Need or something who don't want their name dragging through it. We'll drag wrestling through the dirt instead.
There's that book. Is it the wrestling about the old British wrestling? Yeah. And in the insert, as you first open it, there's a picture of Jimmy Savile. Yeah. In his wrestling gear, looking very lechy, and in possibly a prediction of what was happening or future events. The caption underneath, in quotes, said, "I've been a very bad boy." So. It's that's a little bit eerie. Yeah. That's a little bit eerie to me.
Yes, indeed. Jimmy Savile, the wrestler.
My word, what has this one turned into? Yeah. None of this in the first round.
The next thing we're going to speak about is TNA, the Anthem Owl. The tweet TNA put out is, on Monday we will pick a winner and someone gets $150 gets $150 gift card to shopimpact.com. Keep the suggestions coming. So what they're asking is Anthem, who on TNA, their mascot is an owl. They're asking wrestling fans to name the Anthem Owl to win $150 worth of Impact merchandise.
You couldn't make it up, could you? If you'd have got, when TNA had its boom period, when it was huge, like when you had Ultimate X, when you had Ultimate X, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Daniels, if you'd have gone, a few years' time, your main thing is going to be a competition to name an owl, you'd have gone, fuck off. No.
Yeah.
It's just, you couldn't make it up. It's like, I mean, it's keeping the sponsors happy, innit? But it's, at what cost? I mean, you're naming an owl.
I would normally say we should tone it down on the swearing, but can I just say, I think that fuck off was justified. We'll leave that one in. So anyway, names for the owls. Are you going to scroll down, Dan, and see what? I've got a couple.
I might have a few. Okay, go on, Dougie. Do you want to hit us with
I'm going for the predictable one. It's not my suggestion. It's always popular in these type of things. Owly McOwlface. Is it Owly McOwlface? Yeah. Okay. I've come up with a new one.
All right, go on.
The Iron Beak.
Oh, sweet. Oh, that's a good one. Tweet him, you might win. You might win.
Yeah. And that's it. I've got nothing else.
Hoot Hogan is what one I've come up with. I'm sure I could think of another one. Dan, if you want to read out some of the suggestions that people have tweeted, and I'll get thinking.
Mantowl, Alvalanche, Sid Vishowl, NWL, Blue Mean Owl,
Chris Benoit. Gold Bowlg.
I tell you what, so far nothing's beaten the Iron Beak.
Alberto El Patron.
Could at Impact Wrestling, you could use that $150 to pay your talent.
That is Dakota Relier at Bless Booty on Twitter. You are brutal, sir. That is D's nuts. Is it Vince Huso?
Impact the Owl. the Impact Owl. Impact the Owl.
Oh, this makes for some entertaining reading. What have we got? Do you guys even have the money to just give away $150 in store income? There's a lot of TNA bashing on this.
Yeah.
Someone suggested they just call it the Owl, which I don't know, because it's in a list of wrestler puns like Owl Biss and Alberto El Patron, and for some reason Braden Walker, which was just an actual wrestler. So I don't know if the owl is meant to be like the Wall from WCW, or if it is just...
Could be the Rock.
Maybe, yeah.
Anything with there in front
Baird
of it.
and the Owl. Lord Owlfred Hayes, which is quite...
That's not so bad.
That's good.
Name him Owl.
Bankrupt the Owl if you keep up the lawsuit against the Hardys.
We've got a pay-per-view here. Owl or Nothing.
Oh! Bohemian Grove. It's just...
We've done a lot of Owl, actually. I don't know how much Owl...
Have we used up the Owl quota for the show?
We are the self-confessed worst podcast online, but even by our standards, we need to cut back on the Owl.
I think I don't. What even can you say?
No.
It's a competition to name an owl.
Which
it's. I mean, the shopping centre in Hull City Centre did the same thing with a bee.
Really?
Yeah, they did name the bee, and it's just like.
Does anybody even want $150 worth of them?
You'd probably get like 150 T-shirts.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been
bloody don't fire Eric ones from like 2000.
Yeah, I noticed they've been selling all the AJ Styles stuff.
Right.
Because Don West still works for the company, doing
Don West Steels.
Yeah, Don West Steels, and it's I think the one this month is AJ Styles merchandise for like $3. So.
Did he get sacked a while ago?
I don't know. I thought he did, but I think he
did teleshopping and then he's back.
Because they got criticised for sacking him because he was I don't know what he did in TNA, but he was really good at his job.
He was a commentator, I think.
But he did other stuff behind the scenes, and what he did was he generated a load of money that more than paid for his wages, and they still sacked him.
Well, it's TNA. It's odd, isn't it? Because they have these moments where they've got something that could be good, and then it just dies down, and it's like, oh right, okay, that happened. I mean, you touched on the Broken Hardy stuff last week, and I'm a huge fan of all that. I think that's it's ludicrous and it's ridiculous, but it's hilarious and fun, and I like wrestling to just be fun as well. I like just watching it and going, all right, that was entertaining. And it's like I've shown the whole Final Deletion stuff to people that I know who don't watch wrestling. I've said, right, watch this and tell me what you think. And they've gone, well, is this wrestling? Is this what you do? And I'm like, well, no, this isn't wrestling. This is just something that has been happening on a wrestling show, and it's different, and they enjoy it. And I think it's maybe a way to get wrestling an audience that they wouldn't necessarily have.
Yeah.
Like, because you get those people who watch the cult films and watch the shit films. Again, pardon the swearing, but it's just a way to sort of drum. I think it drums up this bit of interest and like a buzz, because they had the buzz for about a few months, and then obviously the alleged mistreatment of the Hardys, and it's caused them to leave.
No, it like definitely got like, because like. I'd like to say for like a good year, nothing was ever mentioned about TNA at all, hardly. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, this whole like Matt and Jeff thing.
Matt and Jeff have always been good in TNA. I mean, obviously with the Victory Road incident with Jeff aside. I mean,
2011.
I think something like that.
It's not really 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, Matt and Jeff have been in TNA a long time now.
Yeah.
But no, like Matt, before he did the broken stuff, he was doing the big money Matt, wasn't he? Did you see he did it in Ring of Honor as well, where he did the famous promo where he was bathing in all his money.
Yeah,
and it was just
and with the cards.
Yeah, the cards where it's like it's bad being Matt, and that was brilliant.
Yeah.
And he's just gone from that to then doing this broken thing, and it's just it's fantastic. I mean, he's got some would say he's got a messed up mind for it, but I think it's brilliant. I think it takes a different kind of mind to go, okay, I'm going to be a wrestler and I'm going to do wrestling, but I'm not necessarily going to portray it in the traditional way. I'm going to do something a little bit different with it. And I fair play to him, because I enjoy it and I'd like to see more of it.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand.
To be fair, I didn't either.
I mean, initially I didn't. I thought, well, what is this? This is just stupid. But I think the more I watched it, because I genuinely, I'll hold my hands up here, I watched the final deletion about 5 or 6 times after straight away, just because I thought the more I watch it, the more I'm going to understand it.
Right.
And you do, and you're sort of like, okay. And I don't ever think it was done with the intention of being, we're going to film this event and it's going to be the most amazing piece of cinematography you've ever seen. I think they've just gone, right, we're the Hardys, we've got all this freedom, you've given us this money to use, we're going to try something a little bit different. We're going to try something that could potentially revolutionise and change wrestling. And it's very Lucha Underground in its presentation, I think, like the whole sort of TV show style thing, and the cutaways and the way the matches are filmed, like the angles and stuff. But it should make you question it. And like, I went to the Matt Hardy, I think it was the Inside the Ropes thing, where he did like the spoken word show, and he was doing that as Broken Matt. And he said, when questioned about Final Deletion, he said, well, it was done to entertain and to make people think, and whether you like it or you don't, you'll have something to say about it, and I think that's good. I think it has been a good thing for, obviously, Matt and Jeff, because they've almost become, I don't want to say relevant again, but they're a well-known name with wrestling.
Yeah.
And I think people didn't really know what they were doing until they started doing this, and people have gone, oh, I remember them from the 90s when, you know, they were in the WWF, and
like up until Jake all this like broken deletion stuff, the last thing I remember of the Hardys was that ridiculous thing when Jeff Hardy fell off the cage onto the steps.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I remember.
Yeah. Well, that was part of the feud. That was
right
just before Matt turned broken. But again, it wasn't like they weren't doing anything particularly good. No. I mean, I remember a few years back where Jeff Hardy did the Willow character.
Right.
And I thought, because I mean, have you ever watched the Hardy show?
No.
That they did. If you watch that is filmed in the exact same way as the Final Deletion.
Right.
And it's just them two. It's Matt and Jeff Hardy having a laugh. It's two brothers having a laugh with their friends, and it's very much like that. And there was Itchweed. That was from
confused me so much.
That was from the Hardy show.
Right.
And I know, like, there's a couple of friends of mine who have watched the Hardy show, and they knew, and instantly they were like, "Oh my god, this is brilliant!" And it is just them. It's just them having fun, and it works because you can tell that they're passionate about it and that they're enjoying it at the end of the day.
Well, what I'd say is, like what you said, Joey, is that it's actually made them relevant, and TNA, because I don't follow TNA, WWE, any of the American wrestling, only what Dan tells me, and I've heard of it, so they must be doing something right, even though I didn't understand it at all. But yeah, they're out there, and it is relevant, but God knows what it's all about. I have no idea at all. None.
No.
Well, can I just mention something? We are the worst podcast online.
Hands down,
the worst podcast online.
I think this cements it. The colossal mess up.
And because Dan has screwed up, I'm going to mention something that Dan's doing there wrong, and then hopefully maybe we can one day be the second worst podcast. I've noticed Dan uses the word "like" quite a lot, like this, like that, and I'm probably got my faults, and you can point them out to me. I probably sound like a right northern bastard. I know I'm a right bitter bastard, but Dan, stop saying like all the time, else we'll have a like button and a horn or something.
We need a like button, and we need a dinger. Yeah, we just need we'll bring a bell next time.
Let's get a dinger off eBay, and every time I say like a ding ding.
Yeah, I know it's not related to wrestling. I've only outed you, Dan, because you screwed up the first time, and I'm still raging about it. Anyway, it's all finished with now. What else are we going to talk about?
What's the next point?
The next thing, which I think is pretty interesting, is Ishii's Tournament of Death. It's got 2 British wrestlers in it.
Is it? Well, I'm not familiar with CZW and all the deathmatch stuff. You know,
it's got Jimmy Havoc and Clint Margera.
So I'm not familiar with Clint Margera's.
Yeah. Have you never watched Jackass?
Yeah. No. I just figured it'd be pretty interesting, with 2 British wrestlers being flown over to America.
Jimmy Havoc's a given, really. He's king of death matches.
Yeah.
But well done. Like, it gets British wrestling more coverage, doesn't it?
Yeah,
which is always good.
He's not really king of going to the gym, though, is he?
No.
He a bit skinny.
I rate Jimmy Havoc. I think he's good at what he does. He's good at the death match, and he's found a niche.
Yeah.
He has found a niche, and it works. And I've the matches I've seen him in, I've enjoyed. I have enjoyed. So I'm not in a position to say that anyone's not in shape. So I'm not going to make that comment about someone.
No, that's fair enough. And you never. It was me.
But no, like again, I'm not really up on like the whole deathmatch stuff. Really, it was.
I'm just looking forward to it to see how they deal with the insanity that is like the American hardcore wrestling
Speaking of the deathmatchy things, and I believe it was a Jimmy Havoc match, where he wrestled Ibushi. Where he does the moonsault off the top of the car after firing a firework.
Yeah.
I saw a video of that.
Yeah, I saw it,
and I thought that was fantastic. I was like, that's brilliant.
That clip went viral, Morris. It was on.
Did it really?
Yeah. A couple of days after it was on a game show in America.
Wow.
That clip.
Wow, that's.
It was one of the questions. Something about what happened this weekend. Wrestler firing fireworks over himself, and they played the little clip on the game show.
He actually turned it on himself, didn't he? Illuminated himself.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to ask you about, Joey, was Fighting Spirit magazine. I think it was last month or the month before, but you was in it twice. Now we was there. I think the first week you went to wrestling training school. Which how long ago was that?
About 6 or 7 years around that time. I think 6 years. I believe. Yeah.
So I pick up FSM magazine, and I hadn't seen a lot of you in recent times. So we're still mates and all that, but I hadn't seen a lot of you. And there you are in a match review, a photo of you, and I just thought how amazing that you've gone from walking through the door of a training school to actually being and I just wondered how you felt about it.
It was like a bit like sort of, I won't say it was like surreal and like, oh my god, I'm in this magazine. It was like a sort of, oh wow, like sort of, oh I'm in a magazine that I read every month, and there I am after 6 years of working and just enjoying wrestling. And I'm fortunate enough to be featured in a magazine. I mean, it wasn't wasn't the main feature, but it was just nice to have that little snippet of, oh, there I am. I can maybe go one step further next time. In a few months, hopefully it'll be another one, and then maybe a better feature. But yeah, it was nice to just sort of see. Like,
it's framed. It's on your wall.
It's definitely
it's framed on your wall.
Definitely, I was in that magazine. I was in that magazine one time, twice.
Twice. No, I just thought it was just amazingly cool. Let's give a plug to FSM magazine, because I think it's a really great magazine. My favourite feature, anybody who knows me will know, my favourite feature is Greeting Grapple Fans. It's about the old school British wrestling, which I love. And every single month, without fail, it is fantastic. It's such a good magazine.
Got a good article in there about Andy Kaufman this month.
Yeah,
which is good. Like, again, someone who I've sort of looked at little bits of for when I wrestle. I'm trying to get a hold of Man on the Moon because I've not seen that film.
Yeah.
And I do. It is one that I've wanted to watch. But like, on the subject of the magazines, I remember Power Slam.
Yeah.
Power Slam was great. I remember reading that as a little kid as well, and that was good as well. But yeah, like, Fighting Spirit, just being in it is
amazing.
I just reading it is one, but then I'm like, oh wait, yeah, I'm in that one, and it's just like, I remember actually rushing to shop when I like got told that I was in it. I was like, oh great, what's this gonna be? And I was flicking through, and I was just in the shop like, I'm in this. Does anyone want to see? Look, that's me. I'll sign a few if you want. But no, yeah, it was just like, oh, that's really, just like, it was more cool than anything. Just like, yeah, that's really cool. Just one to tick off, like.
Yeah.
I remember when it first came out, originally it was wrestling and Ultimate Fighting, wasn't it?
Yes.
And it was advertised on a flyer when we went to one of the first 1PW shows.
Yeah, I remember the banners are on the guardrail for it.
So how long ago was that?
Over 10.
It's been 12 years.
12,
1PW, like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was 05, the first show.
Oh, 5, so, oh my word.
End of 05, yeah.
Now,
I was 12. I was 12, that is insane.
I was 8.
That makes me feel old.
If you would have told me then that Fighting Spirit magazine would have beaten Power Slam, you know, live longer than Power Slam, I'd have laughed you out of the building.
So it has then, hasn't it? Yeah.
Talking of 1PW, I don't know if you want to mention this or not, Dan, but you've had contact with an old 1PW wrestler.
Have you really?
Yeah, I've been talking to Iceman.
I loved Iceman.
We still do.
Yeah. I've made a custom figure of him recently, and he said he asked about getting one made for his nephew. So I made
that's
one.
Great.
And he said about paying for it or whatever, and I was like, oh no, it doesn't matter. I was like, if you've got anything like Iceman related, like a shirt or anything, I'd be willing to trade it for that, like, or I'd just send it anywhere.
Yeah.
And he's offered me a pair of his old hardcore 24/7.
That's cool.
Ring gear.
That's really cool.
So,
he does. I mean, I don't know him on a personal level, but he does come across as a legit nice guy. And he loves wrestling, even though he did wrestle once recently, didn't he? But he's like nearly 100% retired.
Yeah.
But he just did this one-off appearance.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was like a fantastic gesture. I mean, hopefully we haven't got them yet, but hopefully, I'm sure he's good to his word.
Yeah. Well, I'm just replying to a message now saying that he deleted my address and asked for it again. So
it's looking good, Dan.
Fun fact about the very first 1PW show. I actually own the kendo stick used in the Sandman, Tommy Dreamer, Raven triple threat match.
Really? Have you still got it?
I've still got it. It was signed by them, but unfortunately it was all signed in biro, and the biro's worn off.
Yeah.
Which was very disappointing. But the fact that I've got that is like, and that's something that I'll always keep, because it's just the memory of that was from the very first show.
How did you get it?
Well, I was actually the family was friends with we didn't know her until like a few shows after. She was this American or Canadian who would come to the shows, and she was a fan of the wrestlers.
Was she friendly?
She was very friendly, yeah. And we just got talking to her, and she became a friend. And
but
she was like, not in that way, just a friend. Yeah, just a friend.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, I'll try and get you something from the first show, and she just rocked up with this big kendo stick, and I was like, oh wow, that's really cool.
That's amazing.
Will we have a game? Should we have a game of my cat's blacker than your cat?
What's this then?
This is where you say something, then we say, we outdo you by saying whatever you say is better. Our friend Darren, he owns the table that Ulf Herman went through in the flaming tables and drawing pins.
Ulf Herman has his base All or Nothing Night 2 Survival of the Sickest One.
And it's all signed. And I've no idea how we got it home. Because he hasn't got a roof rack. How did he get in his car?
No, it's broken in half.
Is it?
I've gone through it, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah.
But saying that, it'd have had a car full of people, wouldn't he? As well?
Yeah, I think it might have been a bit of a tight squeeze on that given night. But I think 1PW is like sadly missed.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I used to love those shows. They were brilliant.
I mean, they were for the fans, them shows.
They were just insane.
I legit think if it weren't for them 1PW shows, I wouldn't be into wrestling now. Because those shows were legit like the things where I'd look like the first wrestling shows I'd genuinely look forward to. Like, as soon as one ended, when's the next one?
It was. You got that buzz, didn't you? It was like, I don't want to leave. I want to.
Yeah.
I mean, and they did go on for a long, far longer than they should have. But you did at the time you didn't care because it was just like, this is. I remember. There was the main event of the first one, AJ Styles and Jeff Jarrett for the NWA title, and it was filmed live for him. It was filmed live for TNA, because it was originally going to be Matt Hardy in the main event, but then he
pulled out
because he'd got signed by the WWE again, and that's
he never even told them though, did he?
I don't know.
Didn't tell them.
But I remember that, and I distinctively remember AJ Styles came out and every member of the crowd sang his theme song because it was that I Am, his old TNA theme.
Yeah.
Everyone sang it, and even after they stopped playing his music, they continued to sing it. And you just saw AJ Styles look at the referee and just go, "Fucking hell!" And he just mouthed those words, and it was like, because it was the first time any of them had been over here.
Yeah.
And it was like when you were going, you were seeing AJ Styles and Abyss and Jeff Jarrett, and you just be like, "Oh my god, it's all these again." That was when TNA was huge, so you were like, you never thought you were going to see him.
No.
And you get like Chris Daniels, and then they'd bring guys like Goldust over, and it was fantastic.
And people like Pac and Allegero later.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, Robbie X as well was like. I mean, I didn't really go to the ones when the British guys were really starting to sort of take centre stage. But I'd read the 1PW book, which is really good.
Good book.
Really good.
Book.
I've read that multiple times. You get new information every time you read that, and it was just like, I wish I'd have gone to some of those ones where the British guys were like sort of in high regard.
We didn't miss many. No. We didn't miss many. As a parent, it was problematic because it was expensive.
Yeah, it was.
I had to save up. We had, including like trains and hotels. I had to be properly dedicated to being a wrestling fan. To take, I mean, me and Dan, we broke our record for the most for the most wrestling watched in 24 hours. We watched 13 hours of live wrestling, actual live wrestling in front of us. 13 hours, and that included on top of that an 8-hour kip. That brings you up to 21 hours. So we had 3 hours in that 21 hour gap. We had 3 hours where we didn't watch wrestling, and all I remember is running across Doncaster to a Frank in Benny's and just grabbing something. Was that hungry? Just throwing something down our throat,
running back to the door,
then running back. That was a full-on 24 hours.
Another 1PW nostalgia one was it was the very first show. And it was me, my mum and my dad went. As I said, I was about 11, 12. And we'd got the Q&A tickets. So we got there really early. And we walk into Doncaster Dome to sort the tickets out. And we see, coming in, Loki, Samoa Joe, Al Snow, Blue Meanie, and Sterling James Keenan, Corey Graves. Yeah. And I remember just being like, wow. And I walked up to him and I was like, can I have a photo please? And they all, everyone other than Al Snow was just sort of they were like, oh, you don't want a photo of us, it's it's Al Snow. And I was like, no. I'm like, all you guys. And it was just, that was the very first memory of 1PW, was just them going, yeah, it's cool, have a photo of us. And it was insane, because I was just like, I've just met guys who I've watched on TV. Yeah. And like, wow.
Well, I'll share one with you then. One of my favourite moments was when Ric Flair was there. Now, Ric Flair was just off retiring with Shawn Michaels. He was like red hot as like an indie sort of guest, and we was queuing up outside the dome well early. This isn't like late morning. This maybe early afternoon, and Dan was just. I think is it a term wooing? He was wooing. He was, and it echoed loud.
I was so excited because, like, at the time, Ric Flair was like my favourite wrestler, and just the fact that not only am I like gonna see him, I was gonna like meet him and like get an action figure signed. It was just amazing to me.
And he wooed that many times, that loudly. I can't begin to tell you how loud it was, and other members of the crowd joined in. Eventually, this cleaning woman walked by, and like out the side of her mouth, through gritted teeth, just went up to Dan and just went, "We don't need this." So she was having a bad day. Then I think it was that time that I also, still in James Keenan, I had an argument with him. There was a fire alarm, and they was all outside, and we was inside, and I had an argument with him in between a fire door, just for his amusement, just working the crowd.
He was brilliant. He was fantastic heel styling James Keenan. I remember like, because he was one of them. He was like my first memory of a proper cool heel. Who you want to cheer, but he was so good at being a bad guy. And, I remember as well on like the very first few shows, I was obsessed with Darren Burridge. I thought Darren Burridge was fantastic. It was when he was doing his chav thing, and I actually bought his CD of his entrance music. I think I must pay about £3 or £4 for it. It only had 2 tracks on.
Right.
It had this weird, like techno-y one, and then it had his proper little, like the one that was the Blair rip-off song, and I kept playing that on repeat. I was obsessed with Darren Burridge. I bought some fairy dice and I got him to I've got the pair of white fairy dice that I got him to sign, and then I bought some others that I just mess around pretending to be Darren Burridge with these fairy dice. I was like 12 years old. I was just like, this is amazing.
I suppose we could also like mention the mark out moments where you just do stupid stuff when you look back and you think, oh my god. But going back to like Ric Flair, Dan and his mum had spent a good part of the previous day making a Ric Flair sign, and it was a beauty. It was in pink, and it had like it was like a feather bow around the sign.
It's all glittery as well.
It was a work of art. And what happened was it was packed for this Q&A. There must have been at least 500 people there. There was a lot. I don't know how many. There was a lot of people anyway. And Ric Flair came out, and they're all the crowds popping. And the very first thing he did was look up and pointing at Dan's sign. The first thing he did.
Brilliant.
It was amazing.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's not a 1PW sort of mark out moment, but it was, again, I was around the same age, and I'd gone to Comic-Con in Birmingham, and Mick Foley was there, and we didn't get anything signed by him or anything, because it was a ridiculous amount. But I remember I saw him leaving, and he was wheeling his bag, and I just sort of turned and went, Mick Foley, and he turned round and he gave me the bang hand sign, and I was just like, oh wow. Then that was one, and there was another one when I must have been about 10 or 11, and again it was at Comic-Con in Birmingham. Jim Duggan and Jake the Snake were there. I got a 2x4 signed by Jim Duggan, and you'd walk around the arena and you just hear him doing his all over, and you just every third person would be carrying a 2x4, and you had people who didn't have a clue what it was, being like, why have they got planks of wood? And it was just people walking around with random planks of wood, and Jake
was he selling them?
Yeah, you could buy a 2x4. I've got a 2x4 signed by Jim Duggan.
I didn't know if they brought them though. It's smashed the pallet up, haven't they?
He'd brought these huge 2x4s, and it was like, I think it was £15-20 to get a 2x4 signed by Jim Duggan.
That's brilliant.
And Jake Snake was late turning up because it was. I think it was something to do with
drugs.
Drugs. No, it was animal control. I think because he was trying to bring his snake into England or something along those lines. There was loads of rumours about why he wasn't there, drugs or whatever. But yeah, I think it was something to do with the animal control with his snake. And he turned up late, and I think he must have been drunk, or so he was, because you could tell he wasn't, like, with his eyes and stuff. And I got these little old WWF cards for him to sign, so I gave him them, and he signed them, and he was just like, "Oh, come here, kid." I was real little at the time. I was like, all right. Gets a permanent marker and draws a moustache on my face in permanent marker. So there's me, little like 10-year-old Joey walking around Birmingham Comic Con with a permanent marker moustache drawn on by Jake the Snake and a 2x4 signed by Jim Duggan, and I was like the happiest little kid ever. I was just like, this is amazing. Well, that's like my first real one that stands out for like meeting wrestlers.
Well, that must be a bit of a Jake Roberts gimmick, that, because I saw him in Preston, and he signed these 2 girls' chests, but what was a bit unusual about that was they was very young, but they never asked him.
What, were they just walking past? Yeah, and he was like, come here.
Yeah, he just vandalised them.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So obviously it's not the first time, like with your moustache and that. It's like just something he does. He maybe he thinks that the magic marker is an extension of his finger or something. I don't know, allegedly. But
I also remember one. It was in Scarborough. I was really, really young at the time, and it was the Bushwhackers. Were there, and they was doing photos in the ring at half time, and I wanted to go. Like my mum and dad were like, go on, and I was like, oh no, I was really scared. And anyway, like my dad goes in the ring with me, and I've still got the photo, and it's of me and my dad with the Bushwhackers, and I think it was Bushwhacker Butch gets me in a headlock, and the look on my face in that photo is just sheer terror, because it was the first time I stepped foot in the ring. I was really, really young. I was under 10 at least, and I was just this look on my face, and I was just terrified, because I've just got this New Zealander wrapping his massive arms around my little head. I was like, oh! But it was like, I look at the photo now and I'm like, I only vaguely remember bits of it, but I remember walking down like the line to get an autograph, and there was I vaguely, like not even vaguely, vividly remember these 2 kids in front of me, and they were getting the Bushwhackers autographs, and they were like, oh, do you know the Undertaker? Do you know Hulk Hogan? Do you know Ric Flair? And I was even like just looking back now, remembering it, I'm just like, oh God, just asking those questions is just like, oh. But yeah, it was that was my first proper memory of like just being terrified.
I've got to say, whenever the subjects of the Bushwhackers comes up, I've got to put them over as the sheepherders. Like being the veteran in me, there was a great tag team.
Yeah, I've only seen bits of the stuff as the sheepherders, but yeah, it is fantastic.
You see them against the Fantastics, proper hardcore matches. You see them in Puerto Rico. They had an awful tag match with against the Road Warriors, because the Road Warriors wouldn't sell. They made the sheepherders, as it was then, look like dog shit, because you got to work together, and but the sheepherders, we saw them on Southwest Championship Wrestling. They were absolutely fantastic, and you can go and see one of the sheepherders next week in Leeds. Are we allowed to mention the promotion?
Yeah, just do it. You can't get in contact with me, so I'm not bothered.
LPW Leeds Pro Wrestling, you can see Bushwhacker Luke versus Bash in the main event. Yes, we
should be a cracking show. You should get yourselves down there to Leeds Professional Wrestling. What's it called? The
Hare Hills
Working Man Club.
Yeah, we would recommend.
Highly recommend you get yourself down there to that show.
Yeah, absolutely.
5-star classic.
Yes. Cue embarrassing silence.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, back in the room.
Yeah.
Right. Are we gonna wrap it up then, lads? We've bounced back.
Yeah, we have. We've done quite well, I think.
Yeah.
We talked about Vader's penis, which didn't happen in the first draft. So
was that in the second?
That was in this one.
Yeah. See, because like how I've done it, we can go longer than an hour, so I might just do this in future.
So We've got Vader's.
We got Vader's because that's why this episode title is Big Van Vader's Little Van Penis. That's the episode title.
The reason I'm chuffed about that is because I can't remember which one that was in, and I thought we'd lost it.
Yeah, no, that was documented on it, and it's given me an idea for a feature in upcoming ones. Okay, so I'll just leave that little tease there. We'll.
Service.
Time to mention our sponsors, Dan.
Yeah, our sponsors.
All what? We've got 5.
I don't know. Yeah, got one.
We've got one, but we say it in plural, so it sounds like we're more popular.
I get it.
We're going to plug our sponsor. I don't know. Okay. Whatever. Bros Retro Pins. 25mm Hasbro enamel pins. There's Jake the Snake Roberts and Hulk Hogan pin badges that you can buy at brosretropins.bigcartel.com.
That's very exciting. How much do they retail at then?
£7 free UK mainland postage, or
£7 each.
Yeah, £7 each, or £7 plus. I think it's about £3.50 international postage. So it's
very reasonable rates there, Dan.
Yes.
I'll also throw in a new sponsor that you can have right now. Odyssey Entertainment, which is a new upcoming theatre company based in Hull. So if you want to go on to Facebook and go on to Odyssey Entertainment Hull and look us up there, give us a like, and that's your official second sponsor of the show. Yes. So there you go.
You mentioned Hull. Do you mean Hull City of Culture?
City of Culture 2017.
Third sponsor, Hull City of Culture.
And and while we're at it, let's have a fourth sponsor of Hull-based trio, the Joeys. They can be the new official other sponsor. So again, go on Facebook and like the Joeys on Facebook.
I am Dougie Douglas, a Joeys fan. I've seen them in the pissing rain. I've never been so wet and so
close to death. I believe the band were.
Yes.
Very very close to a Spinal Tap moment.
Yes. There. But good. I love a bit of the Joeys. I absolutely do. So, are we signing out?
Yep, I'll have this up on YouTube and probably stick it up on Extreme Wrestling Torrent. So
awesome.
Get me ratio up, please, guys.
Big thanks to JD Boom.
Cheers, Boom.
Bad Omen Boom, as I'm now called. And I will be joining in on this now, I think. Yeah. Because I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
We can next time come to yours and do it there. Or, return the favour.
Well, either way, I'm easy.
Yeah. So we'll just see you whenever we decide to do one again, because
I want to sign it off with Kent Walter.
Go on, you do it.
It's nothing but just it. Have a good week till next week.
Thank you for listening to the UltraViolent Rest Hold podcast. Please feel free to complain how fucking awful this podcast is and tell everyone to never listen to it. Thank you.